And I truly believe you can rewire your values and brain at any time. And now there's actual neuroplasticity research to back that up. But I was the most risk-averse person. Lawyers are paid, trained for 10 years to find what's going to go wrong and avoid it. That was my only skill set at the time. But being around someone who had only lived his life the opposite way, who was like, what's the worst that can happen? It doesn't work. You try it again. You fix it or you try something else. And the worst that can happen is that I think we invested $4,000. It's not nothing, but it's not life ending. This was 6 months later as well. We'd managed to get back most of that. Like if it all fell over the next day, we'd look a bit silly. Our pride might be a little bit hurt, but no one else knew really. Like no one knew it was us. He's really like, what's the worst that can happen? Law will always be there, but what's the once in a lifetime opportunity? So I kind of faked it and took a leave of absence for a year, thinking that then I had, a security blanket to go back to. But obviously, I never went back. That was 7 years ago. We sold the business at the end of last year. And now I'm on this pathway of swapping seize the day, which is this, millennial culture of hustling and grinding and seizing every opportunity, but in no direction and going so fast that we're glorifying busy, but for the sake of being busy, to like what actually makes you happy. And not that, work is called work for a reason. We don't all have to be totally obstacle free. That's not realistic in life. We can't feel satisfied and stimulated all the time, but you're also not meant to get to the end of your life and think, God, I wish I had less fun. I think one of the big things to remember about creating demand for your particular product or your particular service was, why is it different? Like, why is it completely different to T2? Because there are people who will never shop at a T2. They're our people. We're not necessarily trying to target the exact same market, even though it's under the same umbrella. Like someone else out there is always looking for exactly what you have. So if you're a really boutique product, there are shoppers who will only shop in boutiques or for boutique products. If you're a mass market product, some people only like the credibility and efficiency and price point of a mass market product. But find where you are. And I think sometimes what people come up against is they try to be too many things, or they try to be something they're not, and then they don't get the demand because it's mismatched with the audience they're targeting. Response from, and digital makes that amazing because you can see your click-throughs. There's a lot of data out there that helps you find out what's working and just keep doing that, and not overcomplicating it either. Instead of having, and it was easier, the landscape was a lot different, but instead of having like Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, blah, 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 like 8 platforms, we just focused on Instagram because that was enough. And, you can only do one thing at a time. So we were like, let's just do one thing well. And then when Instagram started to change, it went from, beautiful pictures to video. So we started doing video. You notice trends with enough time to kind of adapt. The beauty of a small business is that you don't have to take it up 75 levels of approval before you can change. You just change. Not that audiences on the internet are silly, but treat them like they're silly, because the way we consume information on those platforms is silly. We've got very, very short attention spans. We will absorb really surprising and alarming facts, but one at a time. So I feel like that is a way that really helped. A lot of repetition, again, because people aren't seeing all your stuff. Brain, knowing, when you feel good about yourself and you're like, I've got this, do all your work in that brain. When you're like I'm hormonal, I got my period, I'm in the fetal position, don't try and do any of those outward facing things. And if you can learn to hack that, you get a lot more done, you get a lot better results. And the self-doubt is quieter when you're well slept, when you've eaten well, when you're feeling good and you've had a few wins, when you're not being really hard on yourself. I think pick your moments, learn a bit more about how you can hack your own brain.